listening to Diehard Sports, your source for all things sports. In-depth debates.
Ortiz drives it to right field. Nelson Cruz going back, going to be over his head, and it is gone! Out of the bullpen! A three-run home run for Big Papi. The Red Sox win in spectacular fashion.
Hard-hitting analysis.
Trying to get open, fires away. Bang! It's over! The Bulls win at the buzzer!
Only on 91.3 WXPL. Now, here are your hosts, Dylan Carter and Ryan Moore.
What is up, Fitchburg? Coming at you on another Friday night. We have a jam-packed show for you today. Ryan, you got anything to say?
What is up? What is up? How you guys doing today?
Yeah, if you don't know, we started a Snapchat and Instagram, so we'll just start you off with that.
Definitely go get that.
Check us out on Facebook, and you'll see all the links to all our social media. All right.
We'll remind you at the end, just in case. You know?
Yeah. All right. Let's get ready for a good show. NFL. Why won't Colin Kaepernick take a pay cut?
Colin Cap, man, it's been the story buzzing for a couple of days. You know, Broncos over there panicking, and I know their patience is fed up with him by now. And I don't blame him because he's sensing this, all right? He's coming off of two season-ending surgeries, right? He hasn't really played in half a year. He played like the first 4 games last season, then they benched him and all that. Okay, just in case, you know, he's feeling the way RG3's feeling right now. Just that he's in a better position than RG3. He still has $11 million, $12 million that he can pick up, right? Yeah. Say this is a turning point in his career, you know, and he's not going to be elite anymore. He's trying to take all the money he can before, you know, he's out the NFL. So I don't blame him at all for wanting that money. And then after next year, he could just be a free agent, you know, sign another deal with somebody somewhere else. He's not just going to go to the Broncos, you know, just because they want him. And okay, they won a championship last year, but they still have holes in their defense that they need to fix. But you know, he's not chasing a ring so bad where he's gonna give up $12 million. I mean, I don't blame him at all. I would have stayed my behind in 49ers, and I would have see how he does. And I think he wants to play with Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly likes quarterbacks with his style. You know, he wants to see how that goes. Maybe Chip Kelly can bring him back. Maybe Chip Kelly can put the spark back in the 49ers. I don't think he can, but maybe, you know. So I don't blame him at all for not taking the pay cut.
I think it's stupid, honestly. I mean, I know you want the money, but the way I'm thinking about it is take your chance to win a Super Bowl. You have the chance to be the starting quarterback of a Super Bowl team right now. Take your chance. Try to win that ring. And you know what? If you don't do that well, you can always end up going on a crap team and getting a huge pay. Because we know a lot of these bad teams are going to pay him a lot of money regardless.
Yeah, a lot of teams been overpaid for quarterback. You know, Chase Daniel got a 3-year, $21 million deal from Philadelphia, which is outrageous. But, you know, also think about it like this. If he doesn't go to the Broncos, right, you know, he's in the last year of his contract in San Francisco, you know, say things don't pan out this year. It's not like he can't go to Broncos next year, you know, because the Broncos still going to need help at quarterback. If they don't get Colin Kaepernick, they said they want to trade for Josh McCown. So I mean, it's not like Broncos have the leverage. And he said he would take a pay cut. It's just that Broncos want him to take a significant pay cut that really will put him down to, you know, Chase Daniels type numbers, which he's not accepting. So I mean, I would stay there, get my money. You know, if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You know, quarterback opportunities are still going to be there by next season.
It tells me his confidence level in his play.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's a bad thing though.
Well, no, not necessarily.
The way I see it is, if you think that you are still very good, why not take the pay cut this year? Play one of your best seasons you've had and get a huge pay for your next contract.
See, that's too much of a gamble.
You gotta believe, but that's believing in yourself.
Okay, it's believing in yourself, but it's also you have to have insurance. Nothing is a sure thing. Like I said, not for long league. I mean, he could take that pay cut. Go to the Broncos, start balling. And then boom, knee goes out. He can probably never even touch the field again, or maybe never get an opportunity like that again. So it's about get it while you can get it. I mean, it's just that's why look at Jabricka Ferguson. He just retired, right? He started every game. He hasn't missed a snap in all 10 seasons. Health was perfect. But he made his money. That's why he was so comfortable walking away. Because Jets want him to take a pay cut. He's like, no, whatever. I don't feel like I'm playing. At elite level. I still got my health. And I made my money. My bankroll is still on swole. You know what I mean? So it's easy to walk away. So players do think about their health, especially now. Concussion came out and all the NFL trying to hide all that information about CT and everything. Players, it really is on a player's mind. Let me make as much money I can now, and I'll play at my highest level. And then when it's time to go, it's time to go. J.J. Watt, he came out the other day and said he doesn't see himself playing terribly longer. Because he wants to play at an elite level, and he has no interest in playing at not an elite level. And it's hard for him because he set the bar so high. You know what I mean? Like he's sitting there getting touchdown passes and taking quarterbacks out and running the back for touchdowns. So I understand it fully, and I have no problem with him not taking the pay cut.
All right, let's segue right into our next topic. Again, with the Broncos. They're in talks with Johnny Manziel. They've been talking to him. Do you really think that this has anywhere to go?
No. All right. Well, Kubiak probably called him, right after he got released from the Browns because he didn't know the full situation. They probably just wanted to talk to him. But they came out and said they have zero interest in him, the day after that report came out. So, I mean, I like I said before, and I'm going to keep saying every time we talk about him, he's not going to play another down in this league. No team trusts this man enough off-field wise to give him opportunity. He's blown all his chances. He might be able to go to a CFL team, and be the man in the Canadian Football League or something like that, but no, see, I don't even believe the Manziel reports when I hear them because it's all just media hyping.
I don't think he's gonna play again, but I do believe the report. And the reason I believe it is I don't think the Broncos were realistically thinking about him. I do believe they talked to him because getting that report out there, they're trying to put some pressure on Colin Kaepernick to take the pay cut.
That's a bad leverage tool.
But I mean, you could have tried that with someone a lot better than.
And my question is, if they wanted Colin Cap salary to go down to $7 million a year, how much was Ryan Fitzpatrick asking for that you couldn't give him what he wanted? Because I can't imagine being the deal that Cap got, when he was in his prime. It can't be any closer than that in numbers, salary-wise. I mean, I don't think Fitzpatrick was asking for $12 million a year. If he was, he's bugging. He is tripping off his noggin if he thinks he's getting that, With Jabricka Ferguson also retiring, Jets have an open more salary cap, so maybe they can get Fitzpatrick back in New York. But, to me, I know we're talking about Manziel, but, Fitzpatrick, I don't know what he's doing. Him trying to hold out to get this contract. He didn't play that good last year. He played okay. He also had Brandon Marshall, so I mean it's kind of easy when you got a talent like that. But I mean, he's not worth no $12 million a year, which he's asking for.
Yeah, I don't think he's worth it either, but I do see why he's holding out. All right, we'll move on. Which player do you think will have a breakout year this year, and which player do you think is going to be disappointing?
Breakout year this year, definitely Lamar Miller going down to Houston, Texas. He's been an elite back. It's just that when he was with us, he was with Miami. We just wouldn't give him the ball. When we gave him like 20 carries in like 2 games the whole season. It's not until Joe Philbin left and Dan Campbell came in that he really started getting some carries. And he's not injury prone. I mean, he has a good health, so he's never really missed a game. He has a little tweaked shoulder, but I mean it's nothing serious. But I like him in the Houston's offense with Bill O'Brien, especially replacing Arian Foster. And they're going to need a running game because Osweiler, he's not a throw 50 times a game type player. He's a throw like 30 times a game, but manage the game. So I really see him excelling in the Houston's offense.
All right, for who is gonna have a breakout year, I'm gonna go right now. Ooh, that's a tough one. I'm between I'm gonna have to go Brock Osweiler, even though he hasn't been. He's been a backup.
That was a desperate choice.
I was thinking about I forget his name. Running back for the Green Bay Packers.
Eddie Lacy.
Eddie Lacy. There we go. I couldn't remember it. Eddie Lacy. That's my pick actually. Eddie Lacy. I mean, he had a good rookie year, and I mean, since then he kind of let himself go. But I think with how much he's been training, he lost a bunch of weight already.
He lost 30 pounds.
And he's putting on muscle. That man's going to be extremely good this year, I think. I think this is going to be the year that he breaks out. I don't know.
I mean, we'll break out again. He already broke out.
Bigger than his rookie year.
I mean, this is why I also had the Packers. When you asked me who you have like as the top of their division, going next season, this is why I had the Packers. Eddie Lacy coming back, slimmed down. Everybody's, the wide receivers are coming back healthy, and I think they're going to go far again. Like they had before. As long as you got a quarterback, an actual quarterback, it's hard not to be successful in this league.
Yeah. And for most disappointing, who do you got?
Oh, Tony Romo. He will get hurt probably week 3, and Cowboys fans will be crying again. And if they don't get a backup quarterback in the draft, then it's just going to be another season like last year. I'm going to keep telling people this. I have even if I was a Cowboys fan, I wouldn't have faith in Tony Romo. He is too broken. He needs to honestly retire and step away. He is too broken with all his back injuries, his shoulder injuries, and trying to put metal plates in to play longer. Like, this is going to come back to bite him. I understand he loves the game, but, Jerry Jones really needs to wake up and see that he's not the future anymore, and you need to start preparing for the future so you can have a future.
I actually was going to go Tony Romo.
Yeah, see?
Same exact reason. I mean, granted, disappointing for people who aren't Cowboy fans. Probably not, because, I mean, we're all seeing it coming. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, try to tell that to a Cowboys fan. They're not going to believe it. So, disappointing Tony Romo unanimously. All right, we got to go to Donkey of the Week. And I'll let you introduce who's our Donkey of the Week.
Our Donkey of the Week this week goes to Greg Hardy for having a one-on-one, open interview with Adam Schefter this past week about how he claims he has not ever put his hands on a woman and that he's innocent. The media made him a bad guy, and it was basically a desperate call for work because no teams are interested in him. That's all it was. And ESPN anchors, and especially the women, they were furious when he got the time to do this interview. Jamel Hill off of His and Hers, she was upset. I forgot her name, but off of Sports Nation, that host, I think it's Michelle something, but she was furious as well. But it was stupid. Like, why the hell would you try to come out with a lie and say you saw the pictures, right?
Yeah.
Say you've never put your hands on a woman. You just hit the fact that he even got a chance last season. Amazes me, but it doesn't amaze me because guess where he went? To Jerry Jones, of course. So, I mean, and he's wondering why he's sitting at home, looking through old playbooks and not getting a call, So he's really mad. Alden Smith got another chance. He's with the Raiders now, and but Alden Smith was more self-destruction. He wasn't doing domestic violence, You know, you see Steve Smith, he tweeted out about Greg Hardy even mentioning this in the same breath, and because his mom was a domestic violence survivor, and it's just no place in the league, and especially after how many cases came out, especially like that blow up year about domestic violence, the league's taking no more chances with that.
And I mean, at the same time, I see where he's coming from. He obviously did it.
Yeah, obviously.
But I mean, I think he needs to man up and take ownership. But at the same time, think about the people who have taken ownership so far. You got Ray Rice, still not in the league. He owned up to it, said he was sorry, and I think he meant it. I think he's been genuine about it. And I mean, and even his wife was like, all right. But I mean, so I mean, how can you look there and see people who are telling the truth, like, yeah, I did it, I made a mistake, and not getting a chance to play at all? I mean, I could see why he's lying over here trying to convince people that he's not, but at the same time, you're not convincing anyone. We saw the picture.
Exactly, you're not convincing anyone. And it's different when, you know, we hear about a player who has like, assaulted a woman or put his hands on a woman, but we don't see it. You know, we don't see any evidence. When we see a video like Ray Rice, you knocking your girl out in the elevator, when we see pictures of Greg Hardy's girl, you know, her face is bruised and everything, the media is going to spin that, and you will never recover from something like that. And you know, it kind of died down, you know, for Greg Hardy's sake, but him coming out with this interview, you know, just made him more infamous. You know, it really just reminded teams of what he did, and it's also not even just, you know, what he did. You know, he's also is a nuisance in the locker room. No team needs that. You know, no winning team wants that, and it's the reason why he's home right now. I don't feel bad for him at all.
All right, let's move on to our next topic, which is what team do you think is going to be the biggest bust, and which team do you think is going to be the biggest surprise?
I'll let you go first.
Team for the biggest bust. That's a tough one for me. Who should I go with? I'm going to go Jacksonville.
What?
I'm going Jacksonville.
No, you are.
And
bugging.
the reason, I mean, obviously they weren't that good last year, but they made a lot of moves this year, and a lot of people are hyping them up as a playoff team. I don't think they're making the playoffs. I just don't. And
you forget they almost made the playoffs last year, right?
I know. I don't think they're making it.
Oh, I'm
crazy. Calling them out right now.
You are crazy.
And if they do, their first round exit,
that was another desperate answer. You know, because that was disrespectful. All right. That's my surprise team anyway. When you
wow.
in that section, it was exactly. But no, disappointing is gonna be my Bengals. Not my Bengals, but the Bengals, and Marvin Lewis, who just got another 1-year extension, and I do not know why. They also retired for Donkey in the Week this year, by the way. It was the Bengals management. No, they're not gonna. They're gonna do the same thing they do every year. Probably gonna win 10 or 11 games and get a first-round playoff exit, and then maybe the people of Cincinnati will be relieved and Marvin Lewis will be out of there. And also, they lost Hugh Jackson. All right, that's also a big loss to their staff. And I don't see, you know, I don't really believe in the Red Rocket, as they call Andy Dalton. But I mean, obviously he could play in this league, but you know, they're the same. They don't change anything. It's been this way for 12 years. You know, it's literally been the same exact format, and I don't see them ever being elite unless they make a coaching change.
See, I would have agreed with you on that. I agree with your points, but at the same time, you hit the nail on the head right there. They're the same team every year, so I can't put them as my bust when they do this every year. Like,
but they're not getting the ultimate goal.
We know what to expect at this point.
You know, eventually, if you win 12 wins every year, eventually you're going to creep into the playoffs. I mean, all right, okay, well, I'll give you, for your team, an example. You guys win, you know, 10 to 12 games every year, but you eventually go to a Super Bowl. Do you not?
Yeah.
All right, then. So, I mean, same with the Packers. Same with the Seahawks. You know, it's just, if you could be consistent, but at least in between those consistencies, make it to farther in the playoffs at least once. They haven't got past the second round. It's terrible. It's literally terrible.
I do agree, especially with the Marvin Lewis thing.
Oh my gosh.
Especially them coming out and saying that they're worried that he's not a Super Bowl coach.
Oh.
It's like, if you're worried about his ability to win in the playoffs and win you a Super Bowl, it's like, all right, well, we're pretty sure you're not going to get us a Super Bowl, but here's the paycheck anyway. It's like, that doesn't make any sense. And as a Bengals fan, I'm sitting there like, you either have confidence in this coach or you don't. Like, there's no in-between. And if there is in-between, let him play out his contract. Don't give him an extension.
Oh, was it? I think, it's literally the owner just flicking a nickel into the fountain and making a wish right now, because he gave him that extension just in case they make a surprise Super Bowl run next year, so they have him locked in. They don't got to renegotiate and everything like that. And, the owner says it's a growing concern that he's not a Super Bowl. What do you mean a growing concern? For 12 years it's been growing a concern? How slow has this been growing? He should have been fired 2 years ago. He's been in the hot seat every year, but also figure out a way to cool it down. So, I mean, he's letting his tenure, make him lazy, because the Bengals, they're so sad. They're so sad. They win, but they don't. They're sad.
Yeah, I mean, the Bengals, and most surprising team, who do you got?
I got the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, see?
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think, well, I'm going to say it anyway, but I'm going to prove my point. Malik Jackson, okay. They also already had, a dominant offense. Blake Bortles, they just need to work on that offensive line in the draft. And, I love the direction they're headed in. They still got Julius Thomas come back. And they got Chris Ivory also for their offense. I love their weapons, and they almost creeped into the playoffs last year. They just didn't have the talent. And now I think they're going to get over that hump, and especially it's the AFC. They could squeeze out a wild card spot. I'm not saying they're going to go like to AFC Championship, but this is the beginning of their rise, and I see them getting a wild card spot this year.
That could happen. They're not going anywhere with it, though.
Yeah, no, I mean, it still need the team's not complete. It takes 3 to 4 years to really build a team, and then that fourth year, that's when you make your full run.
For my most surprising, I'm gonna have to go with the Raiders. The Raiders, I thought they were making the playoffs last year. Mm-hmm. I did. The Raiders have a good core right now, and they're building on it. They built on it this free agency. They're going to build on it in the draft. I definitely think that a playoff spot is happening this year. And, I mean, it's about time. They've been bad for so long now.
Oakland is desperate,
I mean, especially for how many years they were just, like, one of the most dominant teams in the league. Mm. For them to be sitting out here for a decade and a half now, not doing anything.
And now that they have, the Rams right there in L.A., it's going to be a battle between the best team in Cali now. So, I mean, it'll be embarrassing if the Rams move to L.A. and become better than the Raiders, and they've been struggling for success for so long. So, I honestly can see them, maybe that could be a wild card matchup. Jaguars versus the Raiders. Maybe. We'll see.
All right, guys, we got to go to a PSA real quick. When we get back, we're going to move on to the NBA. So stay tuned. All right, guys, getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. What is up, guys? We're back. Thanks for sticking with us. We're going to move on to NBA scores now. Let's pull them up. Last night, we got the Heat beating the Bulls 106-98. Wow, Bulls. Bulls are disappointing this year, man.
Oh, my gosh. That team is going to blow up in the offseason.
Hawks beating the Raptors, which 95-87, which I thought the Raptors would beat them. I was hoping the Raptors would beat them, but
they still got that second spot in the East, so they're cool.
Suns beat the Rockets 124-115. Another disappointing team, Rockets, man. But we got most disappointing teams later on in the show. Timberwolves beating the Kings 105-97, and Warriors beating the Spurs 112-101. So, I mean, that game wasn't close most of the game,
it was not.
and I mean that says a lot. But we'll talk about that. All right. So, actually, our next topic is most surprising team and most disappointing team.
Most surprising team of this season, to me, are the Charlotte Hornets. They really played well this year. Enough to solidify that sixth seed in the East. I know it's the East, but everybody's clicking, especially Marvin Williams. He's been playing his butt off this season. 12 points a game, 7 rebounds a game. Also, Kemba Walker's been having a great season. 21 points a game, 5 assists a game, 4 rebounds a game. Nicholas Batum, who went over there last year from the Trailblazers, he's also having a great season. 15 points a game with 6 rebounds a game. Michael Gilchrist, he came back. He's averaging 13 points a game. Al Jefferson's averaging 12 points a game. Jeremy Lin's even producing, averaging 12 points a game. So they have a lot of people in double figures, and it's really helping their offense out. And defensively, they play well enough to beat some good teams this season. And I think their first, if the playoffs equal out with these last 3 games, they should be playing. I think either the Hawks, or the Celtics in the first round. So it's going to be a good matchup, whoever they play. If they play the Hawks, I think they will beat the Hawks and make it to the second round. If they play the Celtics, I got the Celtics beating them. But ain't nothing. That's just from a basketball standpoint. But yeah, I'm really impressed with the Hornets this year.
Yeah, I mean the Hornets are my most surprising team. Just because they weren't that good last year, and they were pretty disappointing last year. So this year, to be as good as they are right now, I mean they're not great by any means.
No,
but
potential.
to be up, yeah, they have potential, and to be up in the middle of the playoffs right now is good, and that's why they're most surprising. Who do you got as most disappointing?
Houston Rockets, automatically. Houston Rockets. That thing everybody knew that answer coming up. I mean, terrible. I mean, especially after last year, they go down 3-1 to the Clippers in the semi conference finals, and they come back. They beat the Clippers. They go to the conference. They go to the conference finals, yeah, and Warriors obviously beat them. But I mean, when you have James Harden, Dwight Howard, when that's literally your only two sources really for offense, it's not gonna work. And then they fired Kevin McHale for no reason, and I told them. I didn't tell them, but when when he got fired, I was so upset because it wasn't Kevin McHale's fault. It's Dwight Howard. First, Dwight Howard is playing 25 minutes. He's getting stats like 8 points and 6 rebounds a game. Dwight. Are you kidding me? That is so lazy and so terrible. Dwight Howard really should be discussing with himself. He just wants out of Houston. He's in the last year of his contract, and he's gonna leave right when that clock hits midnight and the season's over. They didn't even make the playoffs this year. James Harden's by himself, and management knows that. They got to keep James Harden happy, so they got to get somebody to come in there and really help him out. It's just really ugly in Houston right now.
Yeah, I mean, I actually have the Rockets too. I think this is the first time we've actually agreed completely on a segment. Houston, the exact same reasons, but they're not. I think it's not only his play on the court. It's definitely him off the court. He gets tired of every team because he's a baby. Mm-hmm. Honestly, Dwight, you need to grow up. Every team he goes on, he causes a fit, ruins team chemistry, tanks that team, and that's what happens every time he switches to the teams. Especially with the Lakers too. Year that it was supposed to be the dream team, he tanked that team.
Literally a cancer on the team. You know, and he came out and said he's interested in the return to the Magic. You know, try to go back where he was drafted, and you know where the only place where he actually got far in the playoffs. You know, but he got far with the Rockets. But you know, in the East, you know, the East is easier. He wants to go to the East. You know, could try to bring the Magic back up. You know, no, you know, I mean, he's not gonna get a ring. Because he doesn't deserve a ring. You know, he isn't willing to put in the work. He cries about everything. He causes rift. You know, him and James Harden have real bad chemistry. You know, and I'm so happy that he thought he could just leave the Lakers, you know, and leave us where we was at, even though I didn't want him. But the fashion that he did leave us, because, you know, he didn't want to come back to the Lakers because he said he wanted Kobe gone. Like, are you kidding me? Like, that's the Messiah. That's Mr. LA right there. You want Kobe to leave so you can sign a max deal with us and think you're gonna bring us somewhere? Get out of here. He brought us 5 championships. So I mean, I have no bad feelings or no mixed feelings about him being unsuccessful in his league. I'm happy because he's a baby.
All right. Again, first time we've agreed, I think, in the 2 years we've been doing this.
I'm mad at people today. I'm mad at a lot of people today.
All right, let's move on to the Celtics-Warriors game. We also will bring in...
Celtics-Warriors?
Yeah.
Why are we going...
Because we obviously didn't have it last week.
Why are we going so far back?
We didn't have it last week. But we'll also bring up the Timberwolves game because that's pretty interesting, too.
How about the Spurs-Warriors game?
Spurs-Warriors, I mean... That's what we expected. It's more surprising.
He's only talking about the Celtics-Warriors game because the Celtics won. That's literally the only reason. Because if they lost, we would not be talking about this. But no, have your moment. Have your moment. Have your moment. Have your moment.
All right. Celtics. The Celtics have been on a roll lately since they got Jay Crowder back. You know they have. And right now, they... Not only did they beat the Warriors at home, they're the first team to do that in 54 games, which is crazy.
Then Timberwolves did it too, so.
Yeah.
After the Celtics, but they still did it. But continue.
Still, to break that streak is... They broke history, quite literally.
No, I loved Isaiah Thomas in the second half. You know, he had 0 in the first half, switched his shoes, put those Kobe's on, and dropped 22 points, you know. So just let's do a shout out to all you Kobe haters out there. It's in the shoes, baby. But no, that was a great effort by the Celtics, you know, trying to beat the Warriors. And they were, you know, caught up in the dismay of the record, and while they were playing those games, you know, they lost 2 out of 3. And you know, to the Celtics and then the Timberwolves. So I know they were a little bit off track because they just wanted the season to be over. But when you're chasing this legendary record,
they got way too egotistical.
You know, they got way too egotistical. You know, and Draymond Green didn't help by coming out saying we just want the regular season to be over. You know, it's basically shunning off, you know, this big record that the team has come out and said they want to beat, you know. And now after they beat the Spurs last night, you know, with 3 games to go, you know, I think they're gonna push forward and eventually do it. But you know, Kobe said it best. You know, Kobe said, you know, if I have a chance to break a legendary record, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna put in the work for it, and then I'm gonna go try to win a championship. That's the end of a perfect season, you know. Especially if they get to 73 wins and then win a championship back to back. Like, what other season can be more beautiful than that? You know, especially with Steph most likely to get the MVP. So, it was a great game, but Boston caught them. You know, it was payback for that double overtime win in the Garden. So, but it was a good game.
Yeah, I mean, for some reason the Celtics play them good. I think it goes back to depth. If you can hold their offense somewhat close.
The Celtics have great defense.
You could beat them with the bench.
Yeah, the Celtics had great defense. I never denied that. Brad, what's your last name? Stevens. Yeah, I love his defensive mind, and you guys were number one in the league for most of the year for defensively.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on. Speaking of the Warriors trying to hit 73, you think they're gonna do it?
Oh yeah, I think they're gonna do it. Absolutely, they're gonna do it. And that Spurs game, which is in San Antonio, will be difficult, but I think they will eventually come out. I forgot who they played the last game of the season.
Memphis.
Memphis.
Their next game's against Memphis. Then they play the Spurs, and then they play Memphis again.
Oh, Memphis again? Okay. Yeah, Memphis. They're winning those two Memphis games. So at worst, they're gonna tie the record. But even to see that is still crazy. I mean, when they cracked 70 wins last night, I was still amazed. They won 70 games out of 82. It's ridiculous. And Steve Kerr, he must be feeling like on opposite sides. He was part of the team that set the record, but now he's coaching the team that might break the record.
Yeah, I mean, Steve Kerr, man, there's got to be something with him.
Man.
He's got to be magical or something. Because I saw this meme today, and it just goes to show you like how crazy this is. Mm-hmm. That Steve Kerr's teammates are going to try to beat his current team so that they can't beat the record of his former team. It's just like, wow. Okay. I think they're gonna end up tying the record. I was signed up completely for them breaking the record a few weeks ago. I'm not signed up anymore.
I'm still signed up.
After two losses, I'm not losing confidence in them. Don't get me wrong.
What's the difference?
But it gives less wiggle room. I thought I had it marked down that they were going to lose to the Spurs that game if the Spurs could stay undefeated at home. I already had that. So now that they're already at 9, I'm gonna go tied. I think they'll beat Memphis both games, which still it's crazy to see someone tie that record. But it'd be even crazier to see a team with single-digit losses in a season. That's absurd.
Mm-hmm. And it just makes the playoffs that much more exciting.
So we've been talking about the Spurs versus the Warriors, mm-hmm. and how that might be the game that keeps them from breaking it. Do you think in the playoffs the Spurs can give Golden State a run for their money?
Absolutely. That series can definitely by far, and I think when they eventually meet up in the conference finals, which everybody has them doing, that game is going definitely 6-7 games. That game, I honestly, that there's no 5-4 games. No, there's not going to be a sweep. It's not going to be a 4-1. No, it's either going 4-3 either way. So I mean, I think it's going to come down also to the home field advantage, and I think the Warriors will eventually take it. But it's going to be a grind. It's just the Pop. When he gets into playoff mode, he's almost unstoppable. He prepares the best. That's why he's the best coach in the league, and Steve Kerr. He's going to come out with the same plan he had last year. But it's easier to adjust to it now. The Warriors, they really have black and white offense. Really just set picks. Get shooters open. When you could fight through that, especially after a full season, and they already beat them early in the season, which really definitely boosts their confidence. But when you see that, it's easier to guard up. So I mean, they're gonna have to pull some tricks up their sleeves in order to get past that Spurs defense.
I think it'll go to 6. I don't think they're gonna put up that much of a fight. And I like the Spurs. Oh. I think the Spurs are a good team, but based on the season series so far, I'm just looking at it, and the Warriors have beaten them multiple times, have dominated in those wins. And, I mean, the Spurs, their one win against them
was dominating. It was double digits.
They snuck by.
It wasn't a snake by. They won by 13 points. And they were up the majority of the game. And Steph had an awful shooting night. Usually when Steph has an awful shooting night, the Warriors don't win.
But that's not often.
It's not often, but you can create the distractions enough to make it happen for what, 3 games, 4 games, it's gonna be there, So you gotta realize Steph isn't the whole team, and they know that they get that better than any other team, which is why they rattle him. But they also cover Clay, they cover Draymond, Draymond, I think I gotta check the stats again, but what do you have? I think he had like 11 points last night.
Oh yeah,
but he also had like 8 assists, 7 rebounds.
Well, because you got Leonard out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Leonard is a very good defensive player.
He is. So is Boris Diaw. So I mean, it literally can go either way. I'm not gonna give it to one team over another, especially this season. If the Spurs maybe had about 58 wins, maybe I'll automatically put the Warriors. But they're only 5 games behind, win-wise. In the regular season, so they definitely go either way.
All right, let's move on to our next topic, which is the mess that is the Eastern Conference standings right now. That 14 jumble, between 3 and 6 seeds. What places do you see those teams being at come the end of the season?
What do you mean, like
what seed do you think the 4 teams are going to be?
The 4 last teams?
No, the 4 teams. The Heat, the Celtics, the Hornets.
Cavaliers 1, Toronto's 2, Hawks 3, Celtics 4, Heat 5. There's only 3 games. It can only really shift, from the Hawks, the Celtics, and the Heat. I mean, I can see the
Hornets
Heat
too.
Well, the Hornets,
they're all within a game. Those
all
4
within
teams.
a game. Okay, but it's not gonna shift so crazy where it's gonna rattle up the playoffs. I mean, I have the Heat winning out and the Celtics slipping to 5th. And hopefully the Charlotte can move up and the Celtics can slip to 6th. But because I don't like them.
It depends because the Celtics actually their last 3 games they have left are against the Hornets, the Heat, and the Hawks.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So that's why this standings could get messy because they're all within a game of each other.
But when you're in the middle, it really doesn't matter, where your seat is. In the
home court.
Well, they're not gonna. Well, I mean, home court, okay, but if you're not the number 1 overall seed, it doesn't really matter. If you're not the number 1, number 2 overall seed, it doesn't really matter when you get to the second round because you lose that home court. A home court really is only for the first round of who you play. So I mean, it's not really gonna make a big of a difference. If the Celtics play the Hawks, Celtics are winning. If the Celtics play the Heat the first round, that series is going to 6 games. 6-7 games, I think, and I have the Heat coming out.
See, I think it could matter. But I mean, I see it as I think it's gonna be 3rd is gonna be the Celtics, 4 is gonna be the Hawks, 5 Heat, 6 Hornets. I mean the Hornets, yes, they're one of my most surprising teams, but I think they're getting 6. I think the other 3 teams are better than them. I don't know how you feel about them.
Not necessarily the Hawks.
The Hawks, I think, are a bluff, but I still think they're better.
The Hawks are like the Bengals of the NBA.
The Bengals of the NBA. All right, let's move on to our next subject. Are the Celtics set up like Golden State was a few years ago?
What? Where did this question even come from? See, this is you and your little Celtic dream.
No,
man.
because
how did you even get them and Golden State in the same breath?
Because ESPN has been talking about it, and I'm not talking about them right now. Obviously, Golden State's slight years ahead, but looking back a few years ago at Golden State when they had that young team, they had draft picks, they were set up. Celtics seem to be set up in that exact same spot right now to make that launch.
All right, well, you guys have more draft picks than they had, but they had better young talent. You don't have a max deal player like on the bench who's going to sprout out. they had Draymond Green, they had Harrison Barnes, that's all max. They had Klay Thompson, they had max deal players. Obviously emergence of Steph Curry took them to another level, and obviously Steve Kerr coming in. But you have Isaiah, he's already a max deal player. All right, Evan Turner, he's trying to be a max deal player, but he's not going to be able to be one. You're in a different position where you need the draft, and those players can become your max deal players. The team you have now, not everybody, but the pieces you have now can't get to that elite level.
They're a couple free agents away, is what I think.
Exactly.
Which I think they're set up for it. I think I don't even think it has to be 2 free agents. 2 free agents to make it like a very good possibility. I think they could still make a championship run if they get one good free agent.
One good free agent and a very good draft pick. You guys can make a run, but
Oh yeah, we're about to make a run in the playoffs. Maybe get to the second round, maybe the third, depending on who we play.
If you guys are smart, I'll trade 2 or 3 of those draft picks and just trade up and try to get into the top 5.
I think the Nets pick is going to be top 3. I think it's going to be top 3, which for us, the thing we need the most. Jay Crowder's great. But we need another small forward, too. Mm-hmm. And so, you got Ben Simmons and Ingram right there. So, those are 2 very good players that can fill that void. And you could always move Jay Crowder to power forward for a little bit. Or most of those players you can move around a little bit. Mm-hmm. So, for sure, I think.
I heard you guys talking about bringing in Dwight. You need a big man. So There you go.
No, I don't see that going anywhere.
You're going to see that. And I'm going to laugh. Oh, I'm going to laugh.
I hope not. I hope not. The one player, and I'm going to say, I said it last year, besides Isaiah Thomas that I could see breaking out. Actually, Jay Crowder's been breaking out. He's not great, but he's turning into a good starter. And, and it shows how much value he has to this team with how they performed when he was gone. Jay Crowder, he's a good 2-way forward, which is what the Celtics need. I think he's had a breakout year so far for him, because he was one of those players that's like, all right, we'll give you him to
he was a role player.
Yeah,
he was a role player.
It was just to make the trade work. Yeah. So
he's found his home, which when you find an offense and a defense and a system that you can really thrive in, you got to play better. The results are going to turn to greatness.
I still see the Celtics. I see the surprising player that's going to pop out, and I said it last year, Sullinger. I think he's moved up a lot this year. I think he's becoming a good power forward, and I think he has a lot of potential. And if he just loses some weight, puts on some muscle, I think he could do it, because right now he's doing good. He's averaging, I forget what it is. He's like 15 and 10, 15.
Yeah, but he's also
around there.
30 minutes a game because you guys have no other option at the power forward position. So if he could bang with the best of them when you actually get a free agent, a good veteran free agent, then we'll definitely see. But you guys have to get one first. I thought you guys were gonna make a splash in the trade deadline, but the offers you were throwing out, you guys tried to get Kevin Love, but the Cleveland Cavaliers said you guys gave him a terrible offer. So
we'll because Danny Ainge, he's not one to give up a lot. He's gonna try to weasel you out for every penny he can.
Yeah, but
which makes him good. But at the same time, I could see why. A lot of the agents he was running at are gonna be free agents this year, and so and especially it was very. I'm optimistic about free agency just because of how good this team's playing right now, and also the fact that at the All-Star game, Isaiah Thomas was talking about it. A couple players came up asking him about playing in Boston and how that is. So, we haven't heard that in a few years. We haven't heard that. And so I mean, it's nice to have some free agents that are interested in coming.
Oh yeah, you guys definitely have juice to come over just because the fact you guys what you guys have done with the team you have, and Brad Stevens ain't no joke, and you got big free agents coming out on free agency this year. You got Durant. You guys can you would have to steal Durant, but it could happen. It definitely could happen. So I don't know. Dwight's always available. So whatever you guys want to send that contract out to.
Durant, I would love if Durant came to the Celtics. And I know he was mentioning some good things about it. He came out and was like, oh, no, I say that about every city. I don't think that's true. I mean, I hope it's not true.
But,
I mean,
he told Kendrick, my bad, he told Kendrick Perkins the cities he's interested in, but Kendrick literally had to sign a confidentiality agreement, so not say anything, because he told a radio station, and not the teams, but he told him that he told him, what cities he's interested in looking at, so it could be on the list.
I
know LA better be on the damn list.
I think that it is on the list, and for me, I think that answer he gave the next game was a cover up. I mean, a cover up is a strong word. I think it was a way to make himself look better. It was a PR move. That's what it was, honestly, a PR move. You can't be saying that. You can't be having all these rumors going around when your team's about to make a playoff run. Thunder's playing really good this year. I don't know if they're going anywhere. I think they have a shot. But I mean, the Warriors are looking strong. All right, let's move on to MLB. David Price had a good first game. So with David Price, a lot of fans were making a lot of noise about how good he started out. Do you think that they're making too much noise about nothing right now since it's only the first game?
Yeah, they're making too much noise about nothing. It's literally not even in the heart of the season yet. I was watching the Red Sox game. I forgot who you guys were playing. I think it was Cleveland.
Yeah.
That you guys played. Yeah. You guys lost. I think 6-7. But you guys to see, everybody getting adjusted, to the season. But David Price, no, I wouldn't be worried at all. I mean, it's not like it's Pablo. So, I mean, it's early in the season.
Yeah, I mean,
no need to panic. Calm down, people.
I think David Price, I do like what I saw out of him. I'm optimistic based on what I saw.
It's a long season.
I'm not like
it's
John Farrell.
Long season.
We finally heard from John Farrell. I think it was today actually, where he's like, guys, David Price definitely played well and better than expectations, and we think that he's gonna be a very good first starter, but they're like, don't get so hyped right now. If we had 3 games left in the season, sure, start getting excited. But we've only played 3 games. We still have 161 games to go. It's like
such a long
he's
season.
like, it's way too early to be thinking about all that right now.
That's just media being bored, really.
Yeah, I mean it's been kind of slow lately.
Yeah,
so I mean, but all right, let's move on to NHL since we don't really have that much to talk about at MLB. NHL, are the Bruins a first round exit?
I think this year they are. Sad to say. Yeah, that's the only Boston team I like, by the way, the Bruins. So it's the only time you get compassion from me. But I just don't see them having the juice this year to make it. And I think they just need to get some more younger talent in there and build up again. I don't see them going far.
Yeah, I mean the Bruins. I think they're gonna make the playoffs. I think, but they have not been convincing at all this year. And I just think they're a first round exit. I think this was a good year to show that, hey, our team's not completely bad, and we can make this better,
We got potential.
especially after all those good years they started having.
Yeah, exactly.
That to have that off year last year where it was extremely bad, coming off of, I think they won like the most games that year before. So coming into last season, that was very disappointing. So they blew it up a little bit, and to show that, hey, we still have a good roster. We just got to make a little more moves. And so I think that's a good move on their part. All right, let's move on. Final thoughts. Anything you want to talk about?
Want to talk about just DeBrickashaw retiring. That was really a shock to me, and I know, and I'm glad he did because Dolphins don't have to face him anymore. But no, it really was a shock to me. I understand he didn't want to take a pay cut, but the number of people just retiring, kind of in their prime is it's getting a little bit, alarming. Calvin Johnson, also retiring in his prime, but they made their money, they done what they had to do, so it's easy to walk away after that, and it's just it makes me think, is this gonna start being a trend? Players, getting to that like 8 to 10 year mark, and they got their big contract, it's just gonna be walking away. It's kind of it's bad for the NFL because that's a loss of talent, which you have to replace. Obviously that's why you have to draft, but it's just it makes you think though. It honestly does.
It also is going to make the talent level go down, not just because you got that talent leaving, but a lot of talent, a lot of people who end up developing, it's because of veteran presence in the locker room. That is huge for the game. And so when you got guys retiring that early, you're not going to have that veteran presence in the locker room as much, and it's going to stifle development for sure. My point is the MLB. I was watching the Red Sox games. I follow them, and they still got a time problem. I know they have. They're making sure the batters aren't off the base, all that stuff. They need a pitch count. I don't see. I mean, not a pitch count, a pitch clock. I don't see why they don't have it yet.
I remember. The new commissioner made the rule where you had to stay in the batter's box. Even after a pitch, you weren't allowed. Sometimes batters come out. David Ortiz does it a lot. He just walks away. Stretches real quick before they line up for another pitch. Now it's a fine if you leave the batter's box. So they're trying to speed up the game and get more like young people to watch. But David Ortiz is like, I'll take the fine. I don't care. That's what I do. I leave the batter's box. I get my head right for the next pitch. Some players hate it, but I understand. I appreciate the effort. Of them trying to speed up the game. Because it is the main reason why I really don't watch a lot of baseball. It's because the slowness of it.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate the effort, but it's so obvious. Everyone's been saying it for years. Put a pitch clock. The hitters aren't the problem. I'm sorry. Yeah, you have a few hitters that take a little longer, but honestly, I take a little bit longer too when you got the pitcher playing with his hair, rubbing his shorts and all that for a minute and a half each pitch. It's like, yeah, I'm going to get tired of just standing in the same spot waiting for him to finally throw the ball. They need a pitch count. A pitch clock. That's what they need. Those are my final thoughts on that. Let's plug our social media real quick.
Definitely. Definitely. You guys got to check out the new Snapchat page we got. It was at Diehard Sports MA.
Snapchat's Diehard Sports MA, Facebook Diehard Sports MA, Twitter Diehard Sports MA. The only one that's different is our Instagram. That is diehard.sports. But again, if you go to facebook.com/diehardsportsma, you're going to see our posts with all the links for our social media. We're going to be posting a lot more often on those. So
and also comment if you want to hear a topic, we want us to talk about, each week. Get you more involved in the show. Let us know. We'll definitely bring it up. Just remember this word, Diehard Sports MA. You know,
Diehard Sports.
Whenever you're on Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, Diehard Sports MA. And check out Kobe's last game coming up, man. Just watching a legend leave, man. It's so sad to see, but it's so beautiful to see his career coming to an end. And definitely check it out. It's against the Utah Jazz, who blew us out by 48 points a couple weeks ago. But we ain't gonna talk about that. But definitely see my man off, man. Black Mamba.
Yeah, it's gonna be sad to see him go, even as a Celtics fan. All right, we'll catch you guys next Friday at 7 for another jam-packed show. Thanks for listening, and stay tuned to 91.3 WXPL.
Have a good weekend.
1, 2, 3. Thank you for listening to another edition of Diehard Sports. With your hosts, Dylan Carter and Ryan Moore. Tune in every Friday at 7 p.m. and check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/DieHardSportsMA.